yourself together. Did they go peacefully into the night or did they like die? I'm getting emo even just talking about how much I think I'm gonna be emo. I'm a little scared. Pop off. So I am in fact popping off of sanity at the moment. Keep it together. Keep it together. Keep it together. Do not cry. Hello friends and welcome to my channel. We are kicking off the very first week of the amazing readathon. I have gotten very, very lucky. Okay, like very, very lucky because while I am still currently reading The Mockingjay, I so desperately want to read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I knew that when I saw that one of the prompts was a green book. And what do you know? The very first prompt that has been selected was none other than read a book with a green cover. So we will in fact be reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Now I have actually already started this book. I picked this book up, I want to say like a month or so after the movie came out because I wanted to obviously catch up on the lore. I wanted to read the book, but because I just watched the movie, I don't know, it was not good timing on my behalf. However, I got like 20% of the way through the audiobook and then I put it down. So we're gonna have a little bit of a redemption arc. I have heard that this book is not necessarily as good as the other books in this series, but that's okay, because while I do still have high hopes for this, the fact that the amazing readathon gods just shone down right upon us all in this fine day to pick us out the next book that I am like currently like wanting to pick up is perfection, and I could not be like more excited that we are like in this order. It's perfect. Like I still can't, I can't believe how lucky am I? Like yeah, I got real lucky. So we're gonna be reading this book this week. However, as far as what we get up to the rest of the week, I have quite literally no idea. As far as what we get up to for the rest of the month, I have no idea, but we're gonna have fun. The very first location that we are reading to unlock is the Emerald City, which I also still haven't watched Wicked, which like sidebar, I'm so sorry. Does this mean that I need to watch Wicked this week? Maybe. So I'm gonna spend the rest of the day just like kind of tidying up the last couple things that I need to do to finish out May, and then we are going to hit June. I was gonna say we're gonna hit the ground running, but we're also just gonna hit June, so hopefully it doesn't hit back. Okay, what is immediately striking me at the moment is, I don't know why I didn't quite just like put two and two together when I watched the movie. They quite literally are putting the tributes into a zoo. Stay with me, friends. They put human beings into a zoo. Reading this book immediately following finishing the Hunger Games trilogy, I feel like I'm picking up on things a little bit differently, but also I'm just really entertained right now by just the structure of the games. Coriolanus as a character, he just like, I don't know, he's just not my favorite, but watching him kind of convince others like, hey, I have an idea. Maybe we should try it. Hey, maybe if we give food to the victors, that could be a good idea. But also, hey, maybe if we can't give food to our victors and we have to make alliances amongst each other, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe this could be a show and maybe this is all just performance. I think that is so entertaining. Okay, I'm finding so many little tie-ins from this series that have obviously shown up in the main trilogy, including everything from the Tesserae, all of the little Rose moments, getting to see Tigress. This is obviously her origin story. She's obviously featured significantly more in, you know, her own story. She was featured so little in this book, but then actually getting her backstory is interesting. I feel like I'm working my way backwards in time, which I definitely am. However, getting to see just the overall origins of this world, not only from the characters, getting to see like Snow's opinions and how that has then structured the society, the government, everything that's going on with the capital, the technology of the games. We're getting to see like where it started compared to where it is now. The evolution of the games is very entertaining to me. However, as far as the characters here, Lucy Gray is just such a weird character to me that I'm kind of like, okay. And then Coriolanus is President Snow. So there's that. So I'm listening to it on Everand. It says I'm on chapter 10, but whenever I look at the page in the book, it's like it's quite literally chapter 7. So I'm exactly 100 pages in. That is satisfying. I can't get over the fact that they're literally putting these human beings into zoo cages. Okay, that's all for now. Okay, so to give you some context for how this week is going so far. So I went ahead and kicked off this vlog Sunday after the prompt was announced, and then I managed to decide to edit a video really late Saturday night, and I was like, listen, this is great. Okay, we're in the flow, we're going. And I proceeded to stay up all night last night. It is now Sunday, which was like kind of lucky for me because after midnight hit, I was able to read a little bit, and then I was able to film that update earlier this morning. And then I ended up joining Tori's Patreon sprints earlier today. She had a like thunderstorm, like ambiance room sounding thing, and I have never been knocked out so fast in my entire life. I was out. I was starting to edit another separate video on my iPad. I'm just gonna lay it on the couch here. We're just gonna have like a little Sunday chill afternoon. If I fall asleep, darn. And obviously I did. So it has happened several hours later. I look like I've had a nap. So ignore me for a little bit. Also, I did put the shirt on last night whenever I was filming a whole bunch, and then I still haven't changed. So the intro to this vlog is gonna be a little bit confusing because I've now been wearing this shirt for, you know, a lot. So I did kick off this vlog Saturday like afternoon whenever the prompt was announced, and then the reading update that I just sent was actually filmed early this morning, and then here we are. It is currently like 7 p.m. However, it is entirely me to be a singular day into the readathon and already wanting to be completely changing every plan I've ever made. I made it like another 25 pages into this book. I'm like at the 125-ish page mark. And here's the thing. I'm about as far as the first time that I DNF'd this book. The last 3 books that I have read have all been the Hunger Games. So it's all been the same series. It's all been the same genre. It has all been rereads. I did watch this movie before I picked this book up. And while I have not reread the full book, I feel like I'm doing yet another reread, and I have no inkling at the moment to want to pick this up. I feel like a lot of the fun shiny newness that we are getting out of this book I already know from the movie, and the impacts that like would keep a reader reading as like, hey, we're telling another story in the same world we all know and love. I'm not getting that because I've kind of already been there, done that. So I do half wonder if I will be able to listen to the audiobook for this at work tomorrow. However, I literally do not want to read this book right now. So I was walking around my room earlier today and I was looking at my bookshelf and I was like, listen, wait, I quite literally have another book on my TBR that is green. And not only do I have 1 copy of this book, I have 2 copies of this book because I originally purchased the Barnes & Noble edition of Wild Side, and then I saw this edition at Target. It's very extra diva of me, but I liked this color of green, the spine next to the orange book down there more. So I now have 2 copies of this book. I still haven't read it. I love Elsie Silver. She's like one of my all-time favorite authors. And one of my favorite part about Elsie Silver books is that I generally can read them in one evening. I just like can sit, live, love, love, maybe shed a little tear and just have a little cowboy romance. And or the series is definitely more small town romance. It is not cowboy. However, small town is also still fun. I might still be able to read this during work tomorrow, and if not finish the whole book, at least I can get to 50% so that way I can count it for the travel prompt, and then I could count this for my sightseeing prompt. But in either case, I could count either of these books for a travel or a sightseeing prompt. So I feel like we're being strategic here. We're picking books that would count in both categories, but also I legitimately just feel like I need a contemporary romance right now. I need something in a different genre other than the same YA dystopian series that I have been reading for the last like week and a half. So I'm thinking that this little switch up could be a good plan. We're a day into the readathon. We're already just like shuffling some things around, but I feel like we're being strategic about it. And that's what I'm going to tell myself. We shall see. Okay, listen, I'm obsessed already. I have quite literally read 2 sentences and I'm obsessed already. Okay, number 1, we even straight up had the intro and the author's note being like, hi, my name is Elsie Silver, and like I did my research. That's hot. Okay, Elsie, like you are the people's choice. And I direct quote here, to ensure that the themes in this book have been handled with the care they deserve. A clinical therapist has been hired as an early reader and consultant throughout the writing process. I don't see very many authors doing that. Elsie did. Listen, I'm a girl who loves a good reference. We all know that anytime a Twilight reference is dropped, I'm there. However, another special interest that I have is Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso was mentioned in the first paragraph. So I don't know, I'm getting good vibes already. I'm very curious to see how I'm gonna feel about the pro wrestler aspect, because I do feel like that is going to be different. However, I'm intrigued. Fun fact about my dad, he's a big WWE kind of guy, and so I grew up watching a lot of WWE. Also NASCAR, but that's irrelevant to the current conversation. So I'm just like, I just read a Mariana Zapata book. I'm now reading an Elsie Silver book. Hopefully I can squeeze in a Liz Tom 40 book pretty soon, but like I'm reading new releases from my favorite authors, and I'm alive. So a little bit of a soft DNF like was that move. I just went outside and made some s'mores. I'm going to shower, take off my makeup, and I'm gonna lay in bed. We're gonna whip out the Kindle stand, and we are going to spend the rest of the evening marinating in Elsie Silver. Ignore I said that. Hello friends and happy Monday evening. I have just moved the bookmark of Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes from what I was able to actually get done during work today. My original plan when this book came out was to read it before I went and watch the movie, but then I ran out of time and my friend wanted to go and watch the movie and we kind of spontaneously went and watched it, and I was like, well, darn the luck. I do think that watching the movie before reading the book definitely has ruined my book experience. If we want to be so dramatic as to say ruin it, but right now it just kind of feels like meh. We're going to think about this in the most absolute optimistic portion possible, meaning that this book is actually low-key like the perfect work audiobook. I legit could just listen to this whenever the heck I wanted to and without fearing like I was gonna miss something, because realistically speaking, if you have seen the movie, I don't think that you need to read this book. Truthfully, like I don't feel like I'm getting that much out of it. Kind of similar to how I felt with Catching Fire, and I think mostly because Catching Fire was the movie that I watched the most recently. I just kept thinking about the movie and being like, wow, I feel like the movie kind of did that better. And I do think a good portion of it is because Lucy Gray is such a performative character, and watching her actually perform and not just read the text, like read the lyrics of all these songs, watching her actually sing, which like say whatever you want to say about Rachel Zegler, but like she, yeah, she really did that with this one. So I'm definitely feeling like I would prefer to just watch the movie at this point than read this book. I don't think that we're getting anything else extra special necessarily out of it outside of what the movie already had to offer. And also the movie was, you know, how long is the movie? Like 2 hours-ish, and this is, you know, an 8-hour long book. Like I just feel like I don't feel as if this is necessary. So the completionist in me is very glad that I have the audiobook at the moment and I can just like half pay attention, and I will continue to finish this book literally just to say that I finished it. However, if I didn't have the audiobook and I weren't like at work where I could just like casually listen to something in the background, I would solidly DNF this. I just think that there's nothing just like being really added to the lore here, because if you've seen the movie, you've already seen the new lore. However, I was absolutely giggling along at 2 parts in particular. I guess technically maybe 3, because number 1, I think that watching the technology differences and seeing them kind of plant the seeds for what the Hunger Games is now today is interesting. I didn't already know that in the movies, but it is interesting to watch. And it's funny to see all these little side characters like pop up and be like, oh, hey, wow, if we fed them, we can make the games last longer. Concept. What is she doing? Oh, she's trying to count the number of victors that are left. Maybe we should announce them. Like stuff like that I think has been very interesting. But one of the funniest parts to me that hit me out of absolutely nowhere when Lucky Flickerman was kicking off the games and he was basically like, hey, call now and vote for, or like give your tributes money, right? And all I could think of was American Idol. All I could think of was the announcer on TV asking us to call in and put our vote for our favorites, and it just felt like so like asking people to call in and vote for their star-studded favorites. Like that's just what it felt like, and I couldn't get that image out of my head, and it was good. But then watching how much Coriolanus, his little best friend in this book, watching how irritated he gets at his friend is so funny to me. I keep thinking about Sam and Frodo from Lord of the Rings for some reason, and how Sam is the absolute most loyal, diehard friendship character you will ever see in any fantasy book ever. And then Frodo appreciates Sam, but Snow is like annoyed by him, and I think it's really funny. I have a little bit over 2 hours of the audiobook, and if I happen to finish it, great, cool. But at this point, if I were to put it down, I would not want to pick it up. So if I happen to have time, I'll finish it. Otherwise, I'm DNFing it. But I am going to go ahead and log this for my first leg of the amazing readathon. I'm glad to have a book finished. I need to take some dinner, and then I need to make some progress on editing a video. But outside of that, I have quite literally no plans for tonight. So I am absolutely so ready to continue on in Wild Side. It's not even funny. Hello, friends, and good morning. It is very much so 1 o'clock because I managed to stay up until 2 a.m. to finish this book. I feel like I've just experienced a fever dream, and I just feel like that's just because I have very solidified thoughts on like my favorite authors, and anytime that I'm reading a new book from them, I'm like, it's just the absolute best time. Hello? Okay, I've had a couple of these sherbet swirls now. Okay, this flavor on a freshly brushed set of teeth is not ideal. However, I think that I like other flavors more, but it is still fun. Speaking of fun, I actually really like this book a lot. I know that this book gets a lot of not the best reviews for, you know, a couple good reasons. Like, our main male character is a, what is it, WPW, a world professional wrestler. Let's see, can I possibly get the sticker off easily here today? I kind of doubt it. Oh, we might have a chance. Cutting to the chase here, I did give this book 4 stars. I low-key would feel like more of like a 4 to 5. I don't know that I would give it a full 4.5 star. See, I don't know. The more that I think about the storyline, the more that I'm like, yeah, no, it was incredible. Is this a 4.5? I don't know, but what I do notice that this wasn't a 5-star, but it was definitely like something that I really enjoyed a lot. We have Reese Dupree, who is our wrestling main character. And we also have Tabitha, who she is actually, I mean, technically a chef. She owns a restaurant in Rose Hill. I do love these two characters together. I think they were absolutely perfect together. This book does get very emo because we are dealing with the loss of Tabitha's sister, Erica. Reese and Tabitha met each other because Erica was Reese's tenant. This book is a big factor warning for drug abuse because Erica is going through it, we can say. But I think the way that this book handled it was actually so interesting because we get to see a lot of grayness out of these characters because Tabitha quite literally loves her sister, like obviously, but she is also having to go through a lot of hard things because of her sister. So there's definitely a lot of emotions and just like really interesting conversations that come up regarding that. Like, Erica definitely had a little bit of a thing for Reese, but also he was there to take care of Milo 24/7. And so Milo and Reese, Milo being the son, they formed a very interesting relationship. And now that Erica's gone, we're going through with like, what do we do for Milo? Because both of these characters are absolutely like honor bound to do the best by Milo, off with having the absolute worst, most like terrible misunderstandings about each other that you find out why later on. And I actually thought that these reasons were actually really convincing. Like, there wasn't a miscommunication trope necessarily because they themselves didn't do the communicating, and I think that is why that in this book that actually worked a lot for me. Then there was also the marriage of convenience pretty much because Reese is technically a US citizen and Rose Hill is in Canada. He is in and out of the country for work all the time, but he really enjoys being at his home in Canada. So Border Patrol didn't necessarily love loving that this American man has been just like squatting in Canada, but Milo needs him. Milo loves him. Milo wants him there, and Tabitha wants him there too. So I felt like I was reading the proposal a lot of times and it was so much fun. I also do think that there is something to be said, and a lot of the conversations in this book do cover this, but with Reese being a professional wrestler, as far as like a occupation for a male character have, that's a little silly goofy, right? But we actually do go quite a bit into like the theatrics of it all, and it actually was so entertaining to me. But the fact that a lot of people, when they hear of a professional wrestler, they're kind of like, okay. Tabitha's reaction to that and then Reese's subsequent reaction to that was just like so, I loved it a lot. I also had very many good fist pumping moments at the end because in typical Elsie Silver fashion, everything just comes together at the end, and I really just like, I couldn't stop reading it. I had to finish it. Yet again, Elsie Silver did in fact suck me in to a book. So I did actually, I'm not listening to this audiobook at all, and I completely binged it. I read the heck out of it. So as far as points go for this, and also I guess technically Ballad, Songirds, and Snakes, I am going to use that book for the leg. I did end up finishing it. I really think that if you were at all interested in the book, just watch the movie because I feel like the movie has so many visual components and just like, it's the whole package that you need, whereas Ballad was reading song lyrics on page. However, we can use it for points, which means we have officially made it into Oz. We have made it to the Emerald City. I'm so glad to be here. And we have also completed a sightseeing prompt. So for Team Lore Keepers, I have now logged 591 pages from Ballad, which like also kind of long for Ballad. I did also select the team bonus for this one because there is actually a good amount of found family elements in Ballad. Like not only the Covey on Lucy Gray's end, but then being in all the Peacekeepers and them like being each other's family. But there you go. I am deciding to use all of my power-up cards I can as I go, just because there has been some information that has been announced that has said that we may potentially get more. So, and they are use it or lose it. So I'm kind of like, well, I guess it just means that I just have to use it. So as far as submitting Wildside for the sightseeing prompt, I was looking at everybody's Goodreads and Storygraph, and I don't think anybody's given this 5 stars, but also I could have totally missed it. However, this is technically a special edition. So I'm kind of just giving up now on the tracking that, and we're just gonna mark this as special edition and move on. So I do feel like I have an absolute little reading machine because I was like, well, I guess I could just return Wildside to KU. I'll clean that up now. And then I was like, and then I could also borrow Rewind It Back. So I started Rewind It Back. I managed to get approximately, I was trying to highlight something last night and my Kindle just like completely died, which this is my Kindle Oasis. I do have both the signature Paperwhite and the Oasis. I originally bought the Oasis because like obviously, but then I bought the Paperwhite because the battery life on this is a very old device. It's not doing so hot, but I highlighted something last night and it like, I mean, it's 17 pages. Tell me why 17 pages is 2%, but I can already tell you that this book is going to hurt. I just know that this book is just going to absolutely like be so aggressive on the found family. This is the last book in the series. We're gonna be so emo. We have watched 4 different sets of couples, and Rio himself is being like, yeah, my 8 best friends have all found love, and like, I'm still here. And yeah. Every time that I near the end of like a romance series, I just, any time that the main character of the last book is like, everyone else has found love, when is it my turn? Like, I just feel so left out. I feel so behind. It's gonna get me every time. Every time. And Rio, this whole series has been this like very golden retriever. He has a little bit of a bromance going on with Ryan, and Ryan is just like he's over it, but like also he loves it, and it is so funny to me. And if Rewind It Back is anything like Play Along, we get to watch the characters interact with the found family element so much. Like, this is just one of the most found family books. Like, if I think of found family, this and like Chestnut Springs. Like, that's it to me. I love the way that this series in particular handles friendships, because anytime that there's like an issue, they're feeling down, they're like, I don't know, it's something going on, they really, really very much lean on their friendships, and it is just incredible to watch. I'm getting emo even just talking about how much I think I'm gonna be emo. Like, pull yourself together. So I managed to get literally 0 editing done last night because once I finally like got myself together and was after work and stuff, this just took over my life. I would really like to post a video tomorrow, so I would like to finish editing something, but like also I fear Rewind It Back might just like, it might take me out. It really might. Okay, friends, we have officially made it to the second leg, which means that we've had a new prop dropped, which means I need to figure out what I'm reading next. I have quite literally no idea. So I figured we could go through my TBR and pull everything that could apply, because I'm drawing a blank. So our second prompt for this readathon is to read a book with a violent word in the title, which I'm excited about. And I really figured that I would have more books on my physical TBR that would like kind of work for this prompt, but I'm completely like, I don't know. So I figured I would start with this bookshelf and just kind of look and see what we have, and then go into my bedroom, just because I know a lot of the new books that I've been thinking about in my head they're not gonna be in there. Though I'm like low-key thinking about an option that's in there, but I kind of want to make sure that we're gonna choose that option. But let's start here first. The options are really quite, I'm a little scared. I mean, like, the Ruin of Kings? I feel like ruin's a violent word, right? I'm not gonna read this. I'm not in the mood to read this. Oddly enough, all of these books are either red or orange. Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. Throne of Broken Gods. I was kind of saving this for the Celestial prompt, but Dawn of the Cursed Queen could be a Celestial. I also feel like a shield is more like protecting from the violence versus violence, but like, I could maybe stretch that. I've got Wild and Wrangled down there, but I feel like that is not, like, Wrangled isn't violent. You're just like, you're wrangling it. Death feels pretty violent. I feel like I've been on a roll, though. I don't necessarily want to pick a 700 plus page book. But I do have the audiobook for this already, because it's on Audible Plus. Oh. I feel like that's actually a pretty good list of books, but like also I'm not in the mood for any of them. Sunrise on the Reaping. Reaping is violent. No, but I don't have a copy of that. I just want Direbound to work for this prompt, like really bad, but I don't feel like Dire is necessarily violent. But like, it could be. Hello, friends, and happy Thursday. After much hemming and hawing and debating Tuesday, I was just like, I'm just gonna sit here, edit my wrap-up video, and like, I'll debate later. So then I started talking to Claire, and I made her vote in between this and something else that I obviously didn't pick up. And she was like, you know, you could pick up the other thing, but like, also you could be good. The completion to me says be good. And I was like, so I decided to be good. However, this is actually working out really well for me, because you guys, I'm realizing the benefits to Whispersync in my like life, and how much I deeply am actually really appreciative of it, because at first I was kind of like, okay, whatever. The audiobooks for this series in particular, which first of all, they are on Audible Plus at the moment, so if you have that, use it because they will be coming off, I saw, the 1st of July. So if you're at all interested in the War of the Lost Heart series, maybe read it now. However, I don't necessarily love these audiobooks, but I really love the fact that it has whisper sync. Like, I love it. The fact that I don't know where my iPad is, but I can literally prop up my big old iPad screen, watch somebody read to me. It's really great. But I think that because I don't love this audiobook so much, because I do still have the visual component of being able to watch the words go by, and also I'm not a big fantasy audiobook reader. Like, I just feel like I get lost very easily. But if I can follow along, it's great. So last night, I've been really off on my gym going. I have not been in a very long time. So I looked down at the clock and I was like, you know what? The swim classes that I do in the summers, it starts at 7. It is 6:40. I could go. So I went to swim last night and I'm so sore today. It's not even funny. However, I got back and I was so brain dead. I was like, I just need to lay here. I just want to lay here. I just need to lay here. I in fact want to lay here. So I in fact laid there and listened/watched the audiobook, and it was pretty late. I'm not gonna get reading any done. I don't know. Do I just need a break or what? I don't know. I sat there and I read 18% of this book. Read whatever you want to use verbiage wise, but I got through 18% of this book and I was like, okay, whisper sync. I wasn't prepared to read literally anything at all and suddenly got 18% through a 700-page book. And I also just got to sit there, stare at the wall, and then occasionally look over to the iPad. Like, it was genuinely so great. So whisper sync, especially for books that you maybe, not in this case, I have not been putting this book off, but I think this would be really good for books that you've been putting off or things that are very intimidating, because it's just very low stakes, and it can definitely help make things that are really hard to read very easy to read, because you are able to eyeball and ear listen, and it just makes, I don't know, it's very live off love. So I have started this. I am now a certain percentage of the way through that I don't even want to try to find the physical book and accidentally read myself, because I don't know exactly where I am. However, the series is very beautiful to me. I was very kind of halfway torn, because the more that I started thinking about it, I was like, okay, death being a violent word, death is, I mean, it just depends on how the death is, right? Like, did they go peacefully into the night, or did they like die? So does this book really fit the prompt entirely? No, but then I was like, well, it is the War of the Lost Hearts. There is a war in the title. Like, that's pretty violent. So I'm counting it. So I feel like this entire series is just pulling a big fat Uno reverse on everything that has happened so far, and I'm so into it. Like, I was so certain on certain things that happened in Children of Fallen Gods, and then I'm less certain. It's so well written. I think that the shock, horror, gasp, surprise, wait, what is happening? And all of these things are very emotional, like, charged things that are happening, and yeah. So I wasn't 100% sure if I was in the mood to read this, because I in fact was like, I kind of want to just like read some silly goofy like quick little romance books and like move on with my life and like see how many books I can read in a week. 700-page book wasn't really the vibe. It's in fact the vibe. So I have picked this up. However, I do, as you can see behind me, on top of the blanket that Finley got all crumpled up and layered on. Speaking of Finley, it is Groomers Day, so I had to brush them out before they left, and so now I have white Finley hair all over this black t-shirt. So what's this shirt? Is this shirt a vibe? Yes. Was it the best shirt to wear today? No. So, I think there's another shirt. Let's do a little unpacking real quick. We'll do the 2 shirts that I got off TikTok shop, and then we will talk about the books that I've hauled, even though I know that I said that I was done buying books. I really have just been wanting some big comfort colors. Like, I usually wear like a 2X, but like I kind of wanted to order some 3X. And also, I had a random super sale on this, and I've been seeing the Easy Tiger shirt everywhere. I love the pepper comfort colors at the moment. Like, I love the gray. I really like the gray. So, I did get this. Live Love Love. Let's haul some books. So I did. It is currently the release date for The Monster in the Last Blood Match by K.A. Lind. I've read a couple of K.A. Linds now, but she is actually a local author to me, which I think is really cool. But the fact that I could just, pop on down to Target and get a signed copy is kind of fantastic. Thank you, K.A. Lind. However, I read and fairly liked her Dragon YA. I'm not a YA girl, but the more that I sit on it, the more that I'm like, oh, that was kind of fun. I did kind of like that a lot. So I think I might eventually, like, if I'm looking for an audiobook that's just kind of like silly goofy in the background, that's not like gonna be freaking, this, I might go back and listen. It's like the House of, I don't know, like dragons. It's a dragon YA thing. I'm not the biggest YA fan, but like dragons, I am a fan. And I do have signed copies of all of them, so I really should read them. So both this and The Wren and the Holly Library are both Red Tower releases. The fact that this is a paperback release and not a hardback release is kind of interesting to me, but it's pretty and I like it a lot. She is doing an author signing / event in like 2-3 weeks that I'm probably gonna go to. So it'd be great if I had read this by then. Did I manage to ship both of them in the same bag? Okay, so you guys know I've been on my finishing series grind, right? So much so that I have in fact finished a series. And it's now time. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. So, Rain of Shadows and Endings. Bailey and I will be buddy reading this, like, I don't know, pretty soon. So, oh, she's kind of floppy. And then I also, yeah, I do think that wow, we're reading red books now. We went from green to red. Is it Christmas? Is it Christmas in June? Once I finish this, I probably will go back and finish this, and then I'm probably going to pick up Rain of Shadows and Endings, and then I really would love to read City of Souls and Sinners, the book 2 in the House of Devils series after City of Gods and Monsters. I literally, I don't know series names anymore, and it's because I don't own them, so I need to also order those, but like, I feel like I really should get through some of these, but I still haven't read Silverleaf, I still haven't read Shield of Sparrows, I still haven't read Direbound. I'm like, I'm getting behind on my new releases and my book haulings, so I, need to, these are literally all, wow, we love a theme, we love a theme. Oh, also, last little chit-chatty thing. We're back to crocheting the genre blanket. I am slightly, I don't know about this. I had done some math to figure out exactly like how wide to make this blanket, and I don't remember if that was me planning on reading 100 books or 120 books, and it's looking like I'm gonna read closer to 100 versus 120 this year, which is fine, but this blanket is like, Lord, queen size to king size. I have a queen size bed. I'm concerned that this is going to be too long. So, part of me is really like, so maybe I just need to do some math, and before I catch up any further, I need to make sure that this is the size that I need to be doing. So, that's cool. Now that I finished Shara's blanket, but I also have a sweater that I was crocheting that's like a summer sweater that I would really like to make some progress on. Thank you so much. So honestly, I'm just gonna keep on rolling in the audiobook season. Okay, we're gonna keep crocheting, we're gonna catch up on some of our crafts, and we're just, that's the silly goofy vibe we're channeling at the moment. Good morning, happy Friday, TGIF, my friends. Y'all, last night was rough. We had, you know, some tornadoes that if you end up seeing like the Morton tornado on social media, that tornado was coming towards us, and that storm, the storm that made that tornado, and also I guess technically that tornado was coming towards us, and it went like directly over you know, a major metropolitan area. So it was very, very scary. We had a very, very stinking close call, and thankfully my house ended up being okay. I didn't have any wind or hail damage, which, like, praised be to the good Lord who allowed that to happen, because there are several people in my town who were not as lucky. Though it was also very West Texas spirit, because the block directly diagonal from us, they were kayaking down the floodwaters. So that was fun. So we're kicking off today, very thankful and grateful to be here in much better shape than we possibly could have. There's gonna be some more storms tonight, I think, but all that to say, I was attempting to read a little bit to like get my mind off things while, you know, we were hiding in the bathtub, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna sit here and watch the news. I turned on the audiobook / Kindle, and I set my sleep timer last night, and I set it for like 45 minutes. I conked out immediately. So I think I'm somewhere around, I know I'm definitely at least at 20%. So I read maybe 2% last night. Also, yes, this is in fact the ponytail from yesterday that, honestly, I'm just going to kind of let live at the moment. I kind of just, no, I probably should redo this. I desperately need to get my hair cut and get the front layers. They're much too much for me. I'm more of like a here kind of gal, not a down here. So today's the 6th, and I'm really anticipating that the 3rd leg will start today. And I am nowhere near completing my book for the 2nd leg. So we are a little bit behind, but that is okay because I'm really enjoying. I'm hurting, but I am enjoying this book. The conflict in this book is really interesting. It's very layered, and like there's a lot of parties happening, but it's easy to understand. You really know their motivations for why they're doing what they're doing, and also it's so believable, and you're just like, I literally have no idea how they're gonna get out of this, but I'm rooting for like both sides. I'm rooting for every side here. I'm rooting for literally everybody in this group, and I'm like, where's my villain? I want a villain. I want a villain. I think that's been the most interesting thing about the series so far. Maybe I could hold up the book. There's not a clear antagonist, I guess. People just doing their best. And to that, am I really doing my best? I don't know. I feel like I can relate. We also just need to have a quick little moment in which we look at the hardcover for this, because the indie editions were literally everything. Like, yeah. So if you're looking for the sign to order the indie copies of a book that you really like or really interested in, use your sign, because when it gets trad pubbed, you're gonna be glad you did. It's the way that I barely speak the words, hey, like 3 might be starting today, that like 3 immediately starts, and also it's all Hunger Games themed. I'm dead. I'm gagged. But it's all about an over-the-top cover, as we sit here and talk about an over-the-top cover. So I'm like, should I just like stop reading this and read something else for violent? Make that my over-the-top cover? Sunrise on the Reaping, like Loki's a Reaping is kind of violent. It's kind of a violent book. Should I just like go read Sunrise on the Reaping? And then I can finish this tomorrow. Okay, so plans have completely changed. I will be reading Sunrise on the Reaping, and then we'll come back and finish this. And then that'll make this week just a week filled up on catching up on series and finishing series, because that will actually like finish out Hunger Games for me. And then I will have finished War of Lost Hearts. I caught up on the Rose Hill series. Good plans, good plans. Okay, so I have made it to whatever it is saying, somewhere in like the middle-ish of chapter 8 of 35, which probably means it's probably closer to like chapter 7. I have some thoughts. The thoughts being that I am surprised. The original trilogy, I feel like, spends a lot of time obviously developing the characters, because you've never met them before. We've met adult haymitch before, so we're not having to really go back and fully develop him as a character, and we're getting like sneak peeks of his backstory as he goes on. But for the most part, we really start this book and we get into the games. And what I'm finding so interesting about this book at the moment is that we've seen a couple Hunger Games at this point. Like, we kind of know how they work. We know the structure of them, especially after reading Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Like, we're starting to see where we were, where we went in the original trilogy, being, you know, far back in the future. This is kind of a midpoint, so we're getting to see some of the evolutions of the games. They kind of reference, we used to put you in cattle cars, and now we're putting you in a gym. You're welcome. They're getting stylists. They're getting a whole 9 yards. So things are definitely not completely as they were during Katniss's Hunger Games, but we're getting to see kind of how we went, starting with Ballad and then moving on into Katniss's game. But we kind of like, we know the general gist of it as it is in Katniss's games, so we know how the reaping works. We know what happens when they select the candidates. Like, we've seen that all before. However, I guess I just kind of assumed that haymitches would be really similar in terms of the book would like intro, we'd get some background, and then we go to the reaping, and then we'd go to the games. But there is so much drama and just like backstory and just like things that are happening that we never got any inkling of in the original trilogy, that that's what happened to haymitch. I guess I figured that most of the intrigue of this book was going to come from the actual games themselves and haymitch's time in the games and what he did in the games. We haven't even gotten to the games yet, and we're getting like so much random things happening that I had no idea happened. And I'm like, what do you mean we're not in like what do you mean we're not in the games? But I am very much so. I'm sad. Suspense is suspensing. We're getting so many more details, so many more things happen than we ever knew about, and I'm like, whoa, okay. haymitch obviously was a human being before he met Katniss. Seeing certain elements of haymitch's backstory is just so, I mean, it's shining a lot of light on haymitch and how he acted in the original trilogy and like different motivations that he has had. It's, I'm kind of mind blown at the moment, and it is crazy. There's so many new elements to the development of this world, and specifically haymitch's story, but like in general comparing to Ballad. So part of me does think that this is more interesting, and we're getting more, like the ratio of more to Ballad is a lot more here, but I am really enjoying it. Hello friends, happy Sunday. I just got off friends with Tori, and I had so much fun. I am currently sitting in a lot of emotional damage because of this book. Thank you so much for asking. I love it so much. okay. I took yesterday off to basically rot, and I had the best time rotting, absolutely reading nothing and having a good time doing so. I feel like I just needed a minute to just, you know, doom scroll and just like not. Hi buddy, are you joining the party? Thank you so much. I usually on the weekends will spend a good amount of time like editing, reading, like doing YouTube kind of stuff, and honestly I did that all weekend last weekend. I don't remember exactly what I did weekend before last, but yesterday I just needed a day to just doom scroll and rot in bed, and I had the best time. I really did. Being unproductive was exactly what I needed in the moment. So I had intended this vlog to only be a week long. It's gonna be a little bit longer. I'm so sorry. I am basically reading 2 books at one time because what am I if not a heathen? I am chapter 14 of 35. Sunrise on the Reaping is getting really good. It is giving. I feel like my brain is just absolutely blown from the amount of information that we are getting that we previously did not have, and just to feel like we know a character as they were in the original trilogy, and then just to have like so many new layers show up, it's like whoa. So I'm really enjoying that. With how hard books 1 and 2 in the series hit me, it is absolutely unsurprising that this book is decimating my entire soul, life, body, and being. I'm at a point in the book where we're comparing this idea of like nothing versus everything, and I feel like just I don't want to say the prose or like the lyricism of it, but the themes are really starting to come through, and it's starting to get very like, wow, Chris has really been just like building this whole time, and just like the way that she is twisting words and ideas at the moment is just so compelling to read about. Like, it's really just doing something. It's scratching a little itch in my brain. I feel like I'm highlighting so many things. I'm taking so many comparisons, and I'm like, pop off. So I am in fact popping off of sanity at the moment. Absolutely. I am doing really well at the moment. Thank you so much for asking it again. The fact that chapter 63 is 56%, I feel like these chapters are going really, really quickly. And I also do feel like the point of views we're getting quite a few of them. I do definitely feel I'm in part 2. Whenever I hit this part 2, I was unwell. Okay. I was on sprints and I kept just being like, keep it together, keep it together, keep it together, do not cry. I'm at the point where we've had a little bit of a step back to make all of these really emotional, like big impact emo moments, and then we're getting back into the weeds of how the heck we're going to fight this out, and I'm not ready. But what I'm thinking is really interesting too about the series is that there's a lot of conversations, low-key could even be taken to, I mean, we've got full-send genocide that is happening in this series, and the idea of just like killing people because they're on another side, we're getting conversation about it, and we're having to confront the fact that, hey, evil is the problem, not groups of people that are associated with the evil. So yeah, I'm doing really well. But I am still absolutely whisper syncing the heck out of this book. I've been crocheting my little start to a sweater panel here. This is far too long. This is supposed to be like, where are my shoulders? How long are these shoulders? So I think this sweater might actually just turn into like a t-shirt or something. We'll see. And we'll have fun while we do it. I'm back listening to Sunrise on the Reaping, and I'm just left with this overall feeling like this is an actual masterpiece. This book is really just highlighting the control of the capital and finding out all these teeny tiny little details that are so different than we knew, or like what we're expecting is just like, whoa. And you have to think about like the plot of the rebellion plot in the original trilogy obviously wasn't just like set upon and just decided in a day, right? Like that had been forming for a long time. You're getting to see that forming, but then and it's just it's absolutely incredible. Like I feel like to be able to go back and write this story after writing the trilogy is it is insane, like genuinely so crazy. So to imagine like all of these events have occurred 25 years before Katniss's time, it just puts Katniss's world into such a different perspective. It makes you hate snow more. It makes you have so much like sympathy for haymitch, and like you did from the beginning, because you knew that like he was just a product of you know, being a victor and all that entails. But then getting to actually see it happen more, it's interesting. But then the other, I think that also like significantly most interesting part about this too is that obviously, like, we expected the story to be about haymitch, and we were gonna happen to see other characters that happened to be around 25 years ago, right? No. So getting to see all of these characters, and then like all of the characters that we have come to appreciate from the trilogy, it brings a whole new context, like especially to Catching Fire, when all of these past victors are around, and it's just yeah. I'm currently crocheting single crochets into the teeniest of tiniest little stitches, and I'm having to like go underneath it because I can't get my hook through it because everything is stretched out so weird. So I'm like, I'm feeling a little frantic about what's happening with the hands, but it's matching the franticness of the book. So I'm at the very end of chapter 31 of 35, so it says Everann. So, and I think it's like, I don't know if Everann's off on this book or not, but I'm really close to the end, and I'm everything I know is a lie. That's all. The hanging tree keeps coming back up, and I cannot wait for that to be a bop again. It's gonna be so great. I think that has to be my favorite Susan Collins book. Like, that was absolutely incredible. And the way that it plays into the trilogy, and I think I've had like such a good experience with it having just read the trilogy, but like the Easter eggs it's so very cyclical, and like I feel like this book answers the question of like why the Capitol had this kind of control, and like gives the most vivid example of how it was able to maintain control until Katniss. And then wow. What do I do? Like, happy Monday? Like, oh my gosh. And you're telling me I have to go finish this shit now? So that was very much so 5 stars. I'm going to pretend to pull myself together. Smideroni here. Oh, hi Finley. Yeah. Thank you for paying attention to me in my time of need. Nobody else loves me like you do. Poor haymitch. You know that haymitch, like, based on where we meet him in the Hunger Games, he is really, really working through some demons, and in fact has not even been working through these demons for a very long time. Like, he's not well, right? We get to see why. And was not fun. I just like, wow. Yeah. I'm trying to like, I'm trying to figure out how the heck I am going, like, what do I do with myself now? My original plan was to sit here and finish Daughter of No Worlds tonight too. I didn't expect, like, I expected it. I expected Sunrise on the Reaping to get this emotional, but at the same time I also didn't. And I think the way that it ended was absolute perfection. Like, technically, like, the writing style was insane. The connections, like the poem, I'm losing it. The fact that certain songs kept coming up over and over again, like, it was absolutely immaculate. And I even am thinking, like, my biggest complaint about Songbirds and Snakes was that the movie was so good for it that I felt like reading the book just didn't give the same experience. I know that the movie for this book is gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt real bad. So that was absolutely immaculate. I don't think we've even talked about, like, my favorite characters. Maisley, honestly, was so freaking iconic. She was just living her little sassy, jewelry-loving, fashion-loving self. And the fact that, oh my gosh, all of the found family elements of this book, the actual family elements of this book, the, like, dystopian-ness of it all, and, like, the control of the capital, and I just, yeah, absolutely incredible. So, yet again, I'm sitting here like, what do I do now? Do I just, like, keep talking about this book? Apparently I do. I was supposed to finish War of the Lost Hearts tonight, and I don't, do I? But I'm trying to edit my Hunger Games vlog, so I'm gonna have to sit here and stare at the story even more. And then I'm gonna have to go back and edit all of this footage and stare at it even more. And I'm like, oh my gosh. This is, when I say that I wanted to feel something, and I've been saying that for a while, who would have thunk? Who would have thunk that it would be the Hunger Games to do it? Like, that was not on my bingo card at all. No, but I did tear up at the fact that haymitch's whole thing in the Hunger Games is that we meet him at a very down point. He has been having to send kids off to die for the last 20, like, what, 4 years? And getting to see him experience that in his own life, and now the capital is just, like, continually making him do that. Yeah, I think this is my favorite Hunger Games book, like, the full stop. I love Katniss, and the Hunger Games original book will always be so good to me. But Sunrise on the Reaping, like, I just think, like, technically it was done very, very, very well, but then it also just, like, ripped every feeling out of me. So that's really cool. Anyways, I think what we're going to do is we're gonna end this vlog here, okay? I am going to take a little bit of break. I'm gonna take a little bit of walk around. I'm gonna give myself a couple days. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna finish Daughter of No Worlds, which we all know I'm gonna give that a 5-star. And we're just gonna, you know, figure out what we do from there, because at this point I'm like, I need to stare at a wall. I legit need to stare at a wall. And honestly, that's incredible. I love that literature can do this to me. Like, this is I just want to feel, and the fact that we're at it again, I love it so much. So I am going to attempt to process this. I don't know, but I also kind of want to sit in this absolute pain. We will circle back with not only Mother of Death and Dawn, also Rewind It Back I need to finish. So we'll have some very fun, exciting things. So if you're not already subscribed to my channel, stick around for whatever this Hot Mess Express is. Don't forget to like this video. If you have made it this far into the video, go ahead and leave a snake emoji. Maybe like a rose emoji too, because, like, I hate everything. Read it. You'll like it. It's great, I promise. Anyways, that is the end of this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are, and I'll catch you in the next one. Oh my gosh. Send help.